Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be chatting through some of the series that I want to start in 2023. So this is a video that I've been doing for the past couple of years and I feel like it's quite a common thing, talking through some series that you want to start. So I thought first we would wrap up how I did with my 2022 series, and then I'll talk about some of my ideas for 2023 and how I'm going to be changing this up a little bit. In 2022 I had 10 series that I was thinking of starting, and I read 6 of these series, or I started 6 of them, so I had a 60% success rate with them. I had Mistborn Era 2, which I read, or some of it was a reread, some of it was continuation, and I do still have one book left in that, which is The Lost Metal, but I did make a lot of progress in that. I had Green Rider, which I read the first book and then I DNF'd the series. I had Parable of the Sower. I read that first book and then I've decided I'm not going to continue on as well. I had A Memory Called Empire, or the Tiexa-Clan duology, which I have read and finished. I had Seven Waters, so Daughter of the Forest. So I read the original trilogy in that series, and then I haven't continued on with the rest of the spin-off trilogy, but definitely would look to do that at some point. So yes, tick for that one. And I have read The Ninth Reign. So far I haven't quite read 2 and 3 yet, but that is because I only read The Ninth Reign very recently. So definitely will plan to finish off that trilogy next year. So that's 6 of the series that I put on that list that I have completed. I did not get to 4 of them, which were The First Law by Joe Abercrombie, the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb, the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell, or Memory, Sorrow and Thorn by Tad Williams. So those 4 didn't quite have their time. Maybe I'll get to them in 2023. Maybe I will. So I feel like maybe I made this list maybe slightly too fantasy heavy, that I made it too epic fantasy heavy. And I do read a lot of epic fantasy, I definitely do, but maybe I want it, maybe I need to make sure that there is more variety in there instead of just epic fantasy. And it looks like the epic fantasy were sort of the ones that I didn't get to, the giant ones, maybe because I did end up swapping in and reading both the Lycanius trilogy last year, and I did read the Dandelion Dynasty last year, so those are 2 quite large epic fantasy series with long books, so potentially from reading those larger epic fantasy series, I replaced them in some way. I replaced the list in some way with those. I've had some thinking about how I'm going to be doing my series in 2023 and how I want to work this, because I want to make sure that I am getting to the books that I say I'm going to. I know that I am a mood reader, but I also want to, if I'm going to read something, I'm going to read it, and it's not just going to sit on a list for no reason. Otherwise, what's the point in making the list? Obviously, I think 60% is fine, but I'd like it to be, 80%, 100%. So that's what I want to try and do going into 2023. And I've had some thoughts about how I change up my series there. So in creating the list, I've tried to make sure there is a variety of genres on there. They're definitely more fantasy, but they're different types of fantasy. There's fantasy romance, there's epic fantasy, there's more sci-fi, there's sort of paranormal, there's more of a range on there. There isn't any romance on this series list, but then romances are typically standalone, so I wouldn't really consider putting them on here. And the other big thing that I am trying to actively change for going into 2023 is making sure that the series I'm putting on my list are diverse. I've realised over the past couple of years that I've been wanting to read more diversely, but in practice it hasn't really been happening, and I think for it to actually happen and for me to actually start reading more and more diversely, I need to make it more of a conscious choice, and then hopefully if I make it more and more conscious, then at some point it will become subconscious. So in creating my TBRs and my series to start, I want to be making sure that at least 50% of the books on that list are from diverse authors and diverse voices, instead of creating a series list filled with white men, which is what I realised last year's list was. It was a very white centred list, so that definitely didn't help me read diversely when I was reading series off that list. So that's something that I'm going to try and actively fix this year. Also, what I've decided is I'm going to create a list for the first half of the year, so I have 6 series here, so 1 series a month for the first half of the year, and then I'll create another series list for the second half of the year, and then I can try and keep myself more accountable to reading these 6. So it does add, I guess, 2 more, that there's 12 instead of 10 in total, but I figure that this way I am keeping myself more accountable, and hopefully, because I'm looking at only 6 months, these are the series I really want to read right now in these first few months of the year. Okay, Vish, Sam and I are hoping to restart our monthly buddy reads in 2023. We did the Poison Study series in 2021, and then in 2022 we had a few things that we were going to try. So we started with Green Rider, which didn't go so well, and none of us continued on with that past the first book. Then we went and moved to Daughter of the Forest, which we loved Daughter of the Forest, but then we weren't very good at continuing on with the series together. So we're going to restart from scratch in 2023 with the Psy-Changeling series by Nalini Singh. So this is a first book in it's quite a long series from what I believe. I'm not too sure on the number of books, but what our parameters were that we wanted a short book, long series. So I think all of the books in this are 300-400 pages. They're meant to be quite quick. They're paranormal romances. I think that they do follow different characters in the series, but then there is like an overarching plot. And Nalini Singh is a New Zealand author of Indo-Fijian descent. So definitely would help with reading more diversely, especially if I end up really enjoying that first book and then we read the whole series together. So that is the plan. As long as we are enjoying it, we will keep going with that series throughout the year. The couple of other diverse ones that I want to read in the first half of the year are the Jasmine Throne, or the Burning Kingdoms series by Tasha Suri. So I think I could start this off maybe towards the second half of the first half of the year in preparation for the third book coming out in the summer. So currently the first 2 books are out, the Jasmine Throne and the Oleander Sword, and I believe the third book is coming out this summer. And this is an Indian-inspired fantasy story, and I think you follow 2 female protagonists. One is the Princess Malini and one is her maidservant, and there is a sapphic romance between them. And I think the brother of the princess is quite a tyrannical ruler, and so the princess is dreaming of vengeance and getting her revenge on him. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. Angela has really raved about this series, so I'm hoping that I can, read this and read the second book maybe this half of the year, and then be ready for that third book when it comes out. And then the other one, to get to 50% of this list being from diverse authors, would be reading The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. This is more of a sci-fi fantasy, I believe. In this one, we are following Ikenna, who lives in the Republic of Marine, and her grandfather has been murdered. And so she enters into these gladiatorial war games at the heart of the martial world, trials that lead her closer to his killers, as she tries to find out who killed him. And she possesses some blood magic, which is banned in this world. So if anyone finds out, then she is likely to be killed as well. So I've heard this is quite brutal, but also that maybe our main character can make some idiotic decisions. But I believe the second book in this duology comes out in April, so again I can read this and be ready for that second book, as long as I really love this one, so I can finish series off, because that is the other thing, that I want to be reading completed series and not just sitting on series. So I figure that I am staying up to date and reading new releases, but also finishing off series at the same time. So that's the first 3, and those are all of my sort of more diverse choices. A couple of other ones. So I do want to restart and finish and read the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy. So the third book has recently come out in November, and I read The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart in 2021. Yeah, 2021. So not that long ago, but because these are quite long, in-depth, lots of political world building, I thoroughly loved those first 2 books when I read them. So I'm really excited to see how the trilogy finishes off, but I think it'd be really fun to reread this. And I know that Aaron from Booked and Busy is doing a book club for these books over January, February and March, so I thought, why not join them and reread one of my favourite series from 2021, and then I can finish off the series and read the third book. So this is an epic fantasy trilogy, and it's following multiple perspectives set in this world where 2 sort of empires are at war, and they both have different religious ideologies, and one of them is sort of invading the other. and you follow all these different perspectives. You follow Nell, who seems to be like a lost heir. You follow the princesses in the castle, in the ruling family. The religious aspect is definitely there. There's like this prophecy, and you're trying to figure out who the prophecy involves, and is the prophecy like even real? You have loads of different magical creatures, you have these assassins, you have these secret passageways in the castles. Like, there's just so many elements that I really, really love. So very excited to go back to this and then finish off the trilogy. One of the series that I did not get to last year is The First Law. So the first book being The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie, and I'm bringing this one back because I do want to read it. It was on multiple TBRs last year. I didn't get to it, and I definitely do still want to. This is the catch-up book club series. I think the live show is going to be in February, or this is the book for January and February, so I can get to it, you know, in that first half of the year, see what I think of it. I have the whole trilogy, so I'm ready to read the whole thing, but having the catch-up book club doing it will give me the extra push to read it so that I can join in on those live discussions that they'll be doing. This one as well, which is Lord Grimdark. Although I think we have like 3 main protagonists in this. We've definitely got Glocto, who's the crippled torturer, and I believe that, like, you know, this first book is more character driven, and then as the series goes on, the plot sort of comes in like the third book and like wraps everything up. So definitely intrigued to see what I think about this. And then the final one is one that I have started in 2022, but I do want to like actually finish the book and read the series, and that is the Blood Grace series by Bella Roth. So I did start Blood Mercy and I got like 20% in, and then I think I got distracted with reading many other things. I was reading it on my Kindle, which I'm not very good at, so I'd like to actually like get the physical book and read the series, because I was really enjoying what I was reading. I was really, really enjoying it. So there's actually absolutely no reason why I put it down. I was hooked. And I just need to go back to it and probably actually own a physical copy of it. So this is a fantasy romance series. I think there's like 6 books published currently. Again, Aaron has really liked this, and so has Stephanie from Stephanie Bookish. Like, they've been raving about it. I think this might be the Alpha Ho book club pick for February onwards, which is hosted by Becca in the Books. She's not announced it yet, but from looking at the poll, this one is winning, and that's an extra excuse for it to be one of my series that I'm going to read, unless like one of the other books suddenly gets loads more votes in the next like 30 minutes until the poll closes. I think it's going to be a sure bet that this one's going to win. I really want to get back to that and actually read that series and enjoy it. And so hopefully that could be like my fantasy romance series that I get read through this year, or in the first half of the year. I don't think it's quite complete yet. I think it's meant to be like 10 books long and 6 are out, potentially. Don't quote me on that. So there is a good chunk that is out already, but I was really enjoying what I was reading. I just need to continue reading it. So those are 6 series that I would like to get to in the first half of 2023. Let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts on any of them, or if you are planning to read any of these in 2023 as well. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!